It is Tuesday, January the 18th, 2022. I'm James Brierton in Charlotte, North Carolina. That guy over there is Jared Smith in Charleston, South Carolina. And we are here to once again talk Carolina weather because for the second time this week, there is a threat of snow, sleet, ice, wintry precipitation in both North Carolina and South Carolina. Jared, you're going to get in on it this time?
Maybe. If I get in on it, it's going to be icy. We'll see what happens. It's not what our Charleston snow lovers want to hear. Unfortunately, uh, but it looks like it's going to be icing. And Alicia in Charleston, if you were hoping for some snow, I wish I could give you better news on this one. It's not looking good for that. We're gonna see more snow further eastward into North Carolina, which is good. But we're also going to see potentially a significant icing event in the places that did not get a lot of winter precip last weekend. So
Caring is caring.
yeah. So we're gonna.
Should we show them the NAM right off the top?
This is what we're gonna do. This is how we're gonna play this. The models are all over the freaking place. All right. So what we're gonna do is kind of show you just kind of what the setup looks like. Keeping things kind of generic. We'll show you a couple different model runs and some of the inconsistencies that we continue to deal with here. So let's just go right over to Mr. Futurecast, if I can find. There we go. There it is. Slightly different scene for you. All right. So what we're looking at here, this is the GFS model. This is the GFS model valid at, this is tomorrow's the 19th. So yeah, this is going to be early in the morning on Thursday. And we're looking at temperatures, 2-meter temperatures, winds, and pressure. And what you will notice here as let's see, I also need my pen here. Let me get that out. As you can see here, you can see a pretty sharp contrast in the air masses here. This is almost certainly. Oh, excuse me, James. I'm on the verge of a sneeze. I'm not going to lie. So this is YouTube.
I was wondering.
Yeah,
what was happening.
Yeah, this is the real thing. Anyway, I'll be all right for a minute. All right. So here's
just don't eat the yellow snow. Okay, that's
exactly right.
No, if we get nothing else out of this broadcast, tonight, don't eat the
yellow snow. Absolutely. All right. So here's your.
There it is.
There it is. Sorry, I tried.
Crisis resolved.
All right, we'll see how long that lasts. All right, allergies,
ladies and gentlemen.
So it's not coronavirus.
So when we edit this out later, I'm just going to do what they call a nice clean toss. So Jared, why don't you take us right out to the Futurecast to show us what this situation is going to be like later on this week?
Yeah, absolutely. And I just realized that my pen isn't showing up here either. So that's we're trying a couple new things.
Are you still recovering from no sleep this weekend?
I might be recovering from no sleep this weekend. It's been quite a thing, y'all. I mean,
bless you, by the way.
Thank you. Let me do something here real quick. I'm just gonna test something. I think that might do it. I don't know.
All right, I'm going to show you the NAM, everybody.
Yeah, show the NAM.
Let me out which way is up.
Yeah,
and here's the sitch. It is Tuesday, and there are more than one system at play here. So this is not a forecast. Remember, a computer model is what a computer thinks is going to happen, and computers, like people, have different personalities. So there's different flavors to this. This is what the NAM model thinks, and I'm just showing it to you so you have a gist of what it is we are talking about. So we're going to go through the remainder of tonight. Fine. We're going to go through Wednesday. Fine. Here comes Thursday. Okay. Here comes the first round of precipitation on Thursday. I know we have a question and comment about whether a question in the comments about whether or not we're going to see anything on Wednesday. No, we're going to Thursday. We're going to see mostly rain, snow in the mountains, maybe some sleet, and then let me go to a more complete NAM run, picking up where we left off here now on Thursday. You'll notice still some snowflakes in the mountains, rain across the Carolinas. That's the front, if I'm not mistaken, that sets this bad boy up, because now what happens as we go into the early morning hours of Friday, overnight Thursday into Friday, you're starting to see more sleet, more freezing rain, more icing. This stretches from just north of Columbia through portions of the Sandhills, through the North Carolina coast. Again, remember, this is not a forecast. This is not gospel that this is where this is going to happen, but I want to show you the gist that plays out, right? Because we have a threat here on Friday that, plus or minus, does include portions of the North Carolina and the South Carolina coast. And then what almost ends up happening is it builds back in, and this is the very last frame of the model run that takes us to really early Saturday morning. And now it's trying to make it snow across the I-85 corridor, and it's trying to make it ice in Raleigh, and it's trying to make it sleet in portions of South Carolina. Is this what's going to happen? Let me come back onto camera to answer this question of whether or not this is going to happen. I don't know. I don't know. I'm not going to lie to you. Now, we wouldn't be doing this show right now if we thought there was no validity to this. There's some validity to this, and Jared Smith hopefully has figured out a good way to explain to you what the factors are that will influence whether or not this happens.
Yeah, sorry for the technical difficulties, everybody. Just when we do a long marathon broadcast like we do, sometimes we look back and see what we could have done differently. So I tried to do something differently, and then we had to actually use it, and it didn't go well. So when I look back at this and say, what could I have done differently? It's going to be test your stuff. Anyway, all that being said, we're good. We're on course here. I may still slightly have the sniffles, but we're fine. I'm not going to die of Omicron. All right. So we have a cold front here. This is on the GFS, valid Thursday morning. Here's your cold front right here, and this guy is going to advance. You can pretty well see the change in the winds and the sharp temperature contrast there for sure. This guy is going to advance eastward into the Carolinas, and this is Thursday night. This is Thursday at 7:00. You can see, and again, keep in mind one model, so let's not, so again, with the gospel issues in mind here, we have a couple things that'll be happening. One, the cold front is then going to kind of bifurcate a little bit. We're going to have one cold front that'll be kind of approaching from the west, but then as the cold air and the high pressure wedge down the mountains, yes, the wedge is back. This is the wedge is back. We're also going to have a backdoor cold front here, and this is the leading edge of the very cold air, of the shallow layer of cold air that'll be working its way southward. Again, right now on the GFS, it looks like Thursday, your best shot at freezing temperatures are going to be Greensboro, Raleigh, and that's where we have the potential for a little bit of snow Thursday night. And again, we may also see a slight risk of ice a little further east, but I have to caution that it is going to be difficult to, as James has mentioned, it's still difficult to pin down the exact fundamentals on this guy. We'll move forward in time here, and we'll watch the freezing air, the sub-freezing air slide down. This is Friday night, and this is when we suspect the main event is going to happen.
That's some cold-looking air.
Yeah, this is some cold air. I mean, this is a much deeper. The wedge gets much deeper into the area here, and gets into more of the Tri-County area. Still staying above freezing at the coast, according to this model run. And again, this is kind of we're going to be straddling that line there as it goes. But the thing is that when I switch over to the pseudo reflectivity here, you'll notice that the model that GFS wants to put some snow in the northern part of South Carolina into Raleigh and Greenville mix, and then ice. The pink is ice. Let me back up a little bit, and you'll see that as the cold air wedges down, you'll see that the risk of ice is increasing. Now, this is something the GFS is doing, and again, it's not entirely clear. It's not entirely clear if this is going to be the way it is going forward. But what the GFS has got going on Saturday and this is the 18Z. This is the happy hour GFS. So again, taking it with a grain of salt here. The GFS wants to develop a low pressure system over Florida and then have it run to the east northeast, but at the same time doing another round of icing on the Carolinas. Now, that is not the favored forecast. I'm going to say that right off the bat. That is not the favored forecast, and in fact, the favored forecast is ideally. I think we're missing a lot of hours on this thing. Actually, it looks like I'm missing some high res model data there, but the going forecast is for that to not happen, or for that low to be a little too far out. The main event coming Friday night, like this.
This right here is the second low.
Yeah,
because
again,
the thing is, and I'm gonna paraphrase Brad Panovich at WCNC Charlotte, who explained a cold front's gonna come through, right? And it's almost gonna lay down railroad tracks, and then the lows are gonna shoot up it, each one of them being a different training of winter storms.
Yep, that's correct. And you can see that there's still there is I would say that there is more agreement in Congress than there is with these model runs still, because like you have the low pressure in the Gulf on the GFS down there. You have the low pressure a little bit further north on the NAM, but you also have a secondary area of low pressure on the NAM producing significantly more precipitation.
Meanwhile, you've got a high up to our north that's pushing down all this cold air.
Yep, there's your high.
You got lows off the coast pushing in moisture, and you got a high to the north pushing in cold air.
Yep, exactly. And again, that flow down, and that's cold and somewhat moist air too. So again, I think what we can say is that it does look like there's going to be a second and maybe third round of wintry precipitation for spots Thursday night, generally light, generally in North Carolina. Friday night, further south, potentially into the Charleston Low Country, in the Charleston Tri-County area, into the Grand Strand, PD, Columbia, another round of ice. What is less clear is how long the ice is going to hang around. What is less clear is how hard will it fall. There is some concern that these could be relatively light showers, but they may be around for a while. And that is actually the most efficient way to get a lot of accretion there, because when it's slow and steady, low and slow. It's just like barbecue, except way not tastier. And so yeah.
I'm digesting this. I like to play the role of the people who I think are also digesting this with us. So we have a potential for winter precip late Thursday into Friday.
Yeah. Yep. Thursday into Friday. And again, the NAM is just it's showing a totally different scenario than what the GFS is.
And which one's more on board? Let's take these one at a time. Which one's more on board for round one? And when I say more on board, I mean bringing wintry precipitation. Is it the NAM or the GFS?
The GFS is certainly, this is Thursday night here. So this is actually, is that Friday night? Let me just make sure I've got my nights right. Yeah. So this is Thursday night right here. You can see that it's got a little bit of snow in the area.
Yeah.
You can use some of the snowpack raw model output here. And again, it's not a lot. This is not going to be this weekend. This past weekend. Let me just put it. Yeah. This is not that. And this is not going to be
round one. Oh, you know what? This is get confusing when I call them round one and round two, doesn't it? Because round one was almost on Sunday. So Thursday's threat less severe than last Sunday's threat.
Yes.
Okay.
And as we get into Friday, then it all becomes about strength of the low, positions of the lows as they ride up the wedge. Where does the heaviest precipitation set up? How far south can the cold wedge penetrate? Yep.
So what I'm feeling is that it's Tuesday. And while my certainty in any forecast for Saturday would be not 100%, this forecast feels more complicated than usual because of the amount of moving pieces. We have to wait for a cold front to move through and see where it parks. Then we have to wait to see if a low even forms. And if it does form, How big is it? Where does it go? What does it do?
Exactly. And there's not a lot. I mean, we're looking at the so this is the 500 millibar vorticity here. I'm going to just take some of these off, and this is a kind of a nerdy thing to look at, but what it tells us is where the disturbances are in the atmosphere.
Okay.
And there's a lot of them. This is valid.
It's a very active pattern.
This is valid on Friday morning. 1, 2, 3, 4. There's one out here. There's a lot of stuff that the model has to resolve. And one and one of the big questions that's going to be down the road is if these two pieces of energy phase and spread the winter weather threat further northward. Right now, it doesn't look like that's going to happen. But you can see that, we just have disturbance after disturbance after disturbance. You see the one trough digging down, but not quite enough.
And all these things are kind of giving and taking off of each other too. So the complexities are there that if one goes left, then the other one's got more wiggle room. When the other one goes right, it pushes the other one.
Yeah. And so here's the NAM. The NAM is, notice how different the NAM is at the same time. This is at 75 hours. This is the 21st at 4 o'clock or so. And so this is like Friday at 4 o'clock.
Yeah.
You have a much more amplified trough on the GFS. And then on the NAM, you have that trough, but it's a little bit slower and it's not quite, and it's not quite as energetic. Timing is a factor.
I want to call attention to a conversation that's happening right now in our YouTube chat, and there's some discussion over dates and times. But I think the gist is still here on what Andrew's getting at, and I'm not saying Andrew's got the dates wrong. He might have them right or wrong. I don't have the almanac in front of me, and I didn't live here in 2002. But a stalled frontal system off the coast that overproduced well inland. I think that is key to answering questions like Brett has about whether or not there's going to be snow in Charlotte. It is coastal low is a great setup if you're a snow lover inland.
Certainly. And typically we would be looking for a coastal low even for us in Charleston. We're just not going to have that depth of cold air that we're going to need. Wow.
Well, but should internet God be coming your way? Or are you out of the woods, Jared Smith, king of the Charleston weather?
No, not even close. Not at all. The entire Charleston area and really the coastal plain of North Carolina and South Carolina are both in play.
Yeah.
I found James. I want to pull up a graphic here on my screen share here, and what this is the forecast grids.
Okay.
From the National Weather Service. This is their idea of like the sensible weather, what they think is going to happen, not how much, not how severe, but what they think is going to happen. And so we'll
type, but not quantity.
Exactly. So let's go to Thursday, 7 a.m. We see the 4 a.m., 7 a.m. You can see we have rain in the area. We're still well ahead and we're still in the warm zone here, obviously. Thursday's highs, you can see where those are at, solidly above freezing. We go through the day. So far, so good. 4 p.m. We have some snow going on in the mountains. The Weather Service believes that by 4 p.m. we have snow in the mountains, maybe as soon as 1 p.m. and perhaps some heavy snow on the Tennessee side of the mountains at 10 a.m. So that's Thursday. I
feel that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. All right, let's go to Thursday night. All right, 7 p.m. We start to see that rain-snow line, that rain-snow mix start to work in, approaching the Raleigh area. Still a little north of Charlotte, still in the light rain there. But as we get to 10 p.m. and then 1 a.m., we start to see maybe a snow and freezing rain mix. And again, we don't like that very much right now. But that snow and rain mix is in Charlotte overnight on Thursday.
Here's the problem with that. If it is winter precipitation chasing warmer precipitation, if it is snow and ice coming in behind rain, it is going to make it more difficult to treat the roads for a Friday morning winter event.
Correct. And as we go to Friday morning, this is what the Weather Service believes is going to happen. Snow working its way up Washington, D.C., south into Raleigh, Durham, and into Charlotte. Icing underway on much of the coastal plain, except of North Carolina, except for the Outer Banks. Icing underway in the PD, away from the coast. Moving over to the Upper Midlands again, where we had a lot of ice just a few days ago. Again, I'm not sure that this is necessarily going to be a repeat for that, but you will notice that places like Chesterfield County, which had a lot of down trees, they had a lot of problems in Chesterfield County.
They got a lot of that ice.
They get a lot of ice. We're going to see that icing threat go back over towards over towards the upstate and into the northern Georgia. Greenville may see some light snow. You can see their forecast for January. Okay, that's that.
I was going to say that's Greenville, South Carolina, just to clarify if you're just listening to us, but also Greenville, North Carolina is not that far away from the snow line.
Yeah, I mean, you're going to have, and what's interesting here is I think that they believe that there's going to be like a little heavy snow band here where they have a mix of freezing rain and sleet moving down. So again, that's 10 a.m. This is 10 a.m. Friday. Let's go further into time. By 1 p.m. By 1 p.m., the expectation is that we're going to have freezing rain really up the I-20 corridor, from basically Augusta through Columbia up to Florence, picking up I-95, changing over to snow around I-40, and then snow further up. A lot of icing again in the coastal plain. We're going to stay rain in Wilmington for the time being. Newport, Cape Hatteras is going to stay rain. Right now, Friday at 1 p.m. we're rain in Charleston, we're rain in Myrtle Beach, but then that cold air is going to begin making its way southward, and we get into Friday night. And again, we lose a little resolution here. We're getting past. One of the challenges also with communicating this forecast right now is that we are technically past the time of a lot of the specifics in the grids. Now I have a forecast I can show you, the first call forecast from Charleston that I can show you, but I do not yet have first call forecasts from the other offices. So we'll show
you. Just looking, and I have maps for the other offices that go through Friday at 7 p.m. in the evening.
Yes.
I don't know if these are humans or robots.
Those are humans. Those are the grids. Those are the Weather Service grids.
We could show these.
We could, and they would give you an idea of what to expect for Thursday night, and we probably will show those. I mean, I suspect that we will.
I feel like if I put it up for a vote in the chat, I know what the answer is going to be.
They want to see him. Yeah, for sure. I don't even know if it needs a vote. I think I know exactly what's going to happen. But all that to say, we'll continue with the timeline here of what is expected. By Friday night at 7:00, we could have a pretty decent snow band set up. Really around what looks like, oh God, what interstate is that?
I wasn't looking.
Yeah,
I wasn't paying attention. Where are you?
You're fine. I'm looking around.
That's not an interstate.
Yeah, no, that's a US route, isn't it?
Yeah. That would be why you couldn't think of the interstate number.
That's good. Anyway,
now, I don't know if it's supposed to be one of those future 73s. I know the one to the left is future 74.
Yeah, there's a lot of ambition with our interstates, but certainly along I-95, potentially a heavy burst of snow.
I'm laughing at David's comment. Don't tell me Raleigh's right on the line again. I've been hearing that for 50 years. Well, until you figure out how to move the city, it's going to continue to be right on the line.
Well, I will say this is that it looks like Raleigh is going to be in it. I would say that you're very much in it right now based off of this forecast.
Len's got a smart wife.
Yeah,
my wife tells me the same thing. You're right on the line again.
Yeah, no, that sounds about right.
Apparently, you're pointing at US 1, by the way.
Okay. Oh, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, that actually makes a lot of sense. Yep, that's fun road. Goes a long way. So Friday night. So this is 7:00. Now this is getting into 1 a.m. Friday night. Overnight, technically very early Saturday morning. Freezing rain almost all the way to the coast. We have freezing rain setting up now from, oh goodness, let's see, Greenville, North Carolina, right on the edge of that snow and ice mix, all the way down through Columbia, Myrtle Beach, Charleston. And again, what I worry about is a long duration of low and slow, right? Here's Saturday at 7 a.m. It may not be out of here yet. Saturday at 1 p.m., changing to rain. Thank goodness. May have a little bit of rain and snow mix still hanging around Charlotte. That's certainly a possibility. But yeah, snow will be precipitation will be tapering off through the day on Saturday. And then as we go into Sunday, you can see that we are remaining dry, and that is not necessarily what we have been seeing with models such as the GFS. I'm just making some
I
configurations
feel a
over here.
longing to give specifics, but they don't exist.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that's the dilemma here.
And what the tough part is that usually about this time out, we can start giving specifics. But
yeah, right.
The models are struggling with this. I think the Weather Prediction Center, they published a forecast discussion, much like the Weather Service offices locally publish a forecast discussion. And I believe the quote is, model agreement is horrendous for this cycle. So that's pretty close to an exact quote, is horrendous. So take that what you may. That's that's kind of where we're at. So
yeah. All right. So let's do this here. I want to show what the Weather Service's first take is. And I realize doing that is potentially controversial because of the uncertainties. But I feel way more confident doing that than if we were just asking a computer for it.
Exactly.
So here we go. Are you ready? Are you ready to buckle up for this?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. I'm going to put you in a corner. All right. This is gist, everybody. It's just a gist. Let's start in North Carolina. So I think we're talking, this is through 8 p.m. on the 21st, which is Friday. So it doesn't include anything that may or may not happen after that. But I think it encompasses enough to tell us we could be talking another 1 or 2 inches of snow. Charlotte, Asheboro, Greensboro, Raleigh. I feel like, Jared, that shouldn't Boone have more than 1 inch if they're going to get a preliminary snow in the next 36 hours?
But it's going to be a light one.
Yeah.
We're not going to have that moisture transport that we did in the mountains.
Okay.
This past week. So that's going to limit. I mean, you can see here that this certainly is certainly very far from what we had before. There was a very clear very strong moisture transport with the last system. This is going to be a little less cut and dry. Again, typically we would want to see is those really amped troughs dig in really well and draw a lot of moisture out of the Gulf. We're not really going to have that. We're going to have kind of a weak shortwave moving by. It's still going to wring out some moisture, but again, that's why the precipitation, the overall snowfall totals are going to be less.
Yeah. Okay. But it could be on and off for a couple of days, which, if you judge by the fact that Charlotte-Mecklenburg schools closed today, Tuesday, 48 hours after an event, you can predict the weather, but you can't predict the people. All right, here's South Carolina. This goes through 7 p.m. on Friday.
Mm-hmm.
So we're talking potentially a coating in Columbia, upwards of an inch, probably higher in the higher elevations.
Yep.
Now, here's where I think people really want to know as we play the What About at My House game. We can zoom this in a little bit and get some more pinpoints as we go from Weather Service office to Weather Service office. So roughly 1 inch in Monroe, 1 inch in Charlotte, in Gastonia, almost less in the mountains. And I think that has to do with the fact that it's being fed from a coastal low.
Yeah. And again, we don't have that. Again, we don't have that robust moisture transport quite in place this time. That's certainly going to have an effect on how much on just what is brought in. So,
yeah. Let me breeze through a couple more of these.
Yep, do it.
Mount Airy, Wilkesboro, inch. Raleigh, inch and change. Maybe 2 closer to Durham. Maybe 2 as you make your way up I-95 towards Virginia. Weather Service is thinking, again, an inch down towards Union County, Wadesboro. I'm hearing maybe some disagreements from Jared. Less at the North Carolina coast. Boomerang back north to Elizabeth City. Another inch. I'll show you a blank map just so you know that it's blank.
Yep.
I'll show you another blank map just so you know that it's blank.
Ain't us. Yeah.
And
that's
there's
Yep.
Now I didn't show anybody ice.
No.
Ice is a whole other
thing, and again, a lot of that is going to depend on the residence time of these, and you know, if that GFS model verifies and we have an extended freezing rain event that goes into Saturday, we could be talking much worse accumulations.
Yeah.
Here's
a good comment too. I just saw in chat from Internet God, who, again, reminder, wants to go to the beach to get away from the snow. Schools will be closed in Concord again tomorrow. I did just confirm on the Cabarrus County website that they'll be closed for students with optional remote day for staff.
Yep.
The cranky old northerner in me is just going to say mum.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be interesting. We may be running into some major logistical issues, especially in the places that took the hits this weekend. So here is the first call from the National Weather Service in Charleston
for
ice. So this is the ice accumulation forecast. And again, I want to stress to everybody that what you're seeing so far tonight is the first call from the Weather Service offices. Confidence is low. I think I had more confidence asking a girl out in high school than I have in this forecast. Right now. No, trust me. This is a very low confidence forecast. We're going to do our best to show this, but what we can show you is that we do have the initial look at this is, again, up to about 1/10 of an inch of ice from Statesboro, Georgia to Sylvania to Allendale to Walterboro to Moncks Corner. Possibly in the Goose Creek area, Awendaw, McClellanville. Notice that Charleston proper is out of it, at least for now. We'll see. We'll see. I just got a feeling about this, and
we'll see is also the answer the girl gave him when he asked him out in high school.
No, that was no. So yeah, this is just a general idea of kind of, where we're at. I suspect that those numbers are going to come up. We've seen some model runs from the Weather Service's blend of models. They take all of the weather models, put them together, and put together a blend of what is likely to happen. And then the forecasters look at that blend among other data sources, and that's how they construct their forecasts. The blend of models has a fairly decent icing event set up in the PD, right around the Santee Cooper Lakes up through the PD there. So you can see in the orange here, this is kind of where, and again, this is through 7 p.m. on Friday. This may not encompass the entire event, to be clear,
because it's still too early.
Yeah. I mean, it's too early, but you can see you get to about 1/10 of an inch of ice or so. That's where you begin to see a couple issues. And, you're going to get some coating on some elevated surfaces. You may start to have some problems with the roads a little bit, especially on some of the side roads. We've had questions, we have questions coming in around, Spartanburg. I guess the one good thing here is that it does not look like you're going to get much in the way of ice in Spartanburg. Dusting of snow possible, certainly in the cards. But we don't believe that right now that's going to be a major event. Again, think of this as the makeup event for much of the Carolinas that did not really get in on the last one.
Well, especially when you look at like the North Carolina ice map, again, just through Friday night, doesn't include Saturday. We're talking ice further east, I-95 corridor, even out towards some of the coastal plain areas, like Greenville, North Carolina, or Goldsboro, or Elizabethtown. And a reminder, and we experienced this past weekend, you have the people who see snow have less of a threat of ice. The people who have ice have less chance of snow. And then, of course, you got those people right in the middle that might get a little bit of both. But in terms of impacts, and I don't want to downplay the fact that snow can have negative impacts. It's the ice that always concerns me more.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Should we get to a couple of these questions before we wrap up?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. So Georgia asks, how many more days until we have a more concrete answer? I think the best answer there is about 3 days out. So like tomorrow, we'll have hopefully more confidence.
Yeah, it really depends on how the model resolution is working. We have gradually seen enough agreement. I mean, about a night ago or so, night or two ago, we didn't even have agreement on what precipitation type there would be. They were that far apart. So we're seeing a convergence in the solutions. But we're going to need to, watch that to see what the trends are. Again, we're still very much watching those trends and trying to figure out, what's real and what's not. But it depends on some of these guidance issues getting worked out. There's so many disturbances that it's hard to resolve. So we're gonna, hopefully we'll know more tomorrow. I'm hoping that we do. Yeah. I'm hoping that we come on here tomorrow and we will
be back tomorrow. Yeah.
Yeah.
We're normally here on Wednesday nights anyway. This is, by the way, okay, side note. Carolina Weather Group is here every Wednesday with a show dedicated to talking about weather, science, technology, and more from the Carolinas and beyond. This is just a casual hangout talk thing that we do called Let's Talk Carolina Weather when the weather warrants. This is not the fully produced show. Per that comment earlier about our production quality, we're just hanging out.
We're just chilling. It's all good.
Ryan wants to know, will there be winds and power outages again? I think the answer is definitely some, yes. Especially where the ice numbers are higher, because it's the ice, not the snow, that causes the power outage problem, because it coats those power lines.
Yeah, I can definitely say that. I would say anywhere where there's ice, I would say there's a risk of power outages. I don't know that the winds are going to be as strong as we saw last time. Again, we had a very potent high pressure moving in behind that. When I look at some of the model forecasts, and again, with those caveats in mind, we get a little wind in behind it, but it does not look like, I don't see right now a repeat of the previous wind event. We've had 2 really good wind events so far in 2022. Yeah. So again, I would say that if you were in the ice zone, get ready for power outages and get ready for rough travel. Potentially
this was a picture. This is a picture I took in Charlotte 2 nights ago. I couldn't get a picture of a power line coated in ice, but this is a tree branch coated in ice.
Imagine that's a power line,
right? Speaking of ice, Nick wants to know, will there be ice near Wilmington on Friday? And I think I've still got that map up from the National Weather Service, and it will help answer that question. It's close, depending on where you are in Wilmington.
Yeah, I mean, it's very close, and I can't rule it out. Again, with the water temperatures probably right at the coast, you're going to be just enough to keep the column to keep the area around that just a click above freezing. But it's going to be tough. It's going to be close, and it's not out of it's not out of the question. So,
Myrtle Beach wants to know what their dealio is. It's Teddy Bear joining us again on YouTube. You're more or less out of this, Myrtle Beach. So if Internet Gods is still watching and wants to know where to go on the beach to avoid this winter storm, the answer might be Myrtle Beach or Charleston.
We'll see. Again, there's some of the model runs do bring it into Myrtle Beach or bring it very close to Myrtle Beach, and again, it all depends on how far south that wedge can penetrate. And something that we harped on last week that we're going to continue to talk about here: models often underdo the wedge.
We hate the wedge.
Yeah, we hate the wedge. It is our biggest forecasting problem here in the Southeast, especially when it comes around winter weather. The wedge is going to be very difficult to pin down, and where that wedge sets up and how strong that is and how much residence time it has will determine ultimately who sees the most ice and wintry weather overall. So Myrtle Beach are not completely out of it yet. Keep an eye on this, especially in Conway, especially for just slightly inland off of the actual beach.
Eva wants to know, will there be enough snow to cover the ground in Greensboro? I'm going to go with yes.
Yeah, I think that's reasonable, especially looking
Setting
at
the bar kind of low there.
Yeah. I mean, manage your expectations. This is not going to be what we saw last weekend. I just let's manage our expectations. That's not the current thing. I don't know how many snowmen you're going to get out of this, but I think you're going to see at least some snow on the ground. Absolutely, and it will stick because you're going to be well under freezing.
Accumulations in Raleigh, North Carolina. I'm going to say yes. The trend, subject to change amongst friends, 1 to 2 inches. Although you just brought up a good point in that last answer. If you get one of those snow bands, as the one model was trying to do over central North Carolina, you could be closer to that 2 than closer to that 1.
Yeah, and again, we got to see, and again, just upper disturbances. If we can get some ventilation there, if we can get, depending on the position of the low and the position of the wedge, just so much. So the general thinking for Raleigh right now is about maybe 1-2 inches tops of snowfall, maybe a little ice, maybe some sleet mixing in.
Yeah.
Beyond that, we don't know.
Michael wants to know: do we have a good handle on it? So we won't really have a good handle on it until tomorrow, Thursday. Yes. So we won't really have a good handle on it until, I'm going to say tomorrow. I'm punting to tomorrow. I'm clearly punting till tomorrow.
Yeah, and I think that's reasonable too, because keep in mind too, we're still not in the full range of our full model suite yet. We're just now getting into the range of the short range ensemble. We're just now getting into the range of the NAM, which again is, for those of you who were watching last week, for wedge situations, a lot of us in the Southeast, myself included, look at the NAM's temperature profiles a little bit more closely, because the NAM seems to handle the wedge in these kinds of situations extremely well. So that's going to be, we're going to start getting more data from that. We have a new run of the NAM coming in right now, and we're going to take it. And as soon as we get off of here, we're going to take a look at that.
Don't stay up, Jared. We got to get some rest. Brian wants to know, is this the last chance for good snow in Raleigh this year, or do we have a shot in February? Historically, you got a shot in February.
Yeah. And again, this is not bringing in a pattern change. The overall pattern remains ridge in the west, trough in the east. And so this pattern remains favorable, at least for another week, maybe another 2 weeks.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So now this is a great question, right? I own a store in Spartanburg. What should I tell my employees for Friday and Saturday? First of all, we cannot assess your threat comfort level. That will depend on a lot of things, like the what type of store you operate and what type of gear you have and how far away your employees come from and are you on a hill. But I would say be weather aware, be prepared, be monitoring the weather, because there is the chance for more winter weather this next few days. It's also January, so I mean, there's let me try to gauge this. We are not talking about Armageddon blizzard in the next 72 hours.
No.
If we were, Jared and I wouldn't be poking so much fun at each other. We are talking about January winter encounter.
Typical southern winter encounter. I think the best message that James hit the nail on the head. Stay weather aware. Yeah. Stay up to date on forecasts. Things will change. Yeah. How they change, I don't know, but things will change.
I like Brian's comment, and I believe Brian was the one who just asked about Raleigh a moment ago. Acknowledging, thank you very much. Thank you for watching, Brian. Brian doesn't get the Weather Channel. It's much appreciated that he's watching us here on YouTube, and we welcome that. I don't get the Weather Channel either. Nothing bad to say about the Weather Channel. I don't pay for cable. So here it comes. Are you ready, Jared? You know what I'm going to say. You can check out our nonstop free streaming service called the Carolina Weather Net, any place that you watch YouTube, which clearly you guys know how to do. You can watch it on your smartphone or your smart TV. It has real-time warnings, sky cams, radars, and the best of our weekly show. Again, we do a weekly show. This is just us hanging out talking about weather. Last week, we were talking about nanosatellites, which, by the way, Jared, that nanosatellite interview we did last week about the new tropical satellites that are like this big, that's an inch, that's like an inch, that they're launching. They launched another one today.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's going to be interesting to see.
Things you learn on the Carolina Weather Group.
Yep.
We are coming up on about 45 minutes. So there's my Carolina Weather Net plug. And we've been replaying a lot of our snow coverage and highlights on the Carolina Weather Net because based on viewership, you guys are just loving rewatching that stuff. So if you're watching this replay right now in the Carolina Weather Group, Carolina Weather Net, thanks.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah. I don't know if I have any other closing thoughts other than we will be back tomorrow at 9:00 with more of our panel and more analysis of these early models. I do wish 4 days out we had a better idea.
Yeah.
I want to see if you can help me stall. Brad Panovich has a great rules of winter weather forecasting.
Yes. Yeah, go grab that.
Find this.
I'll hit some quick questions here. Steve Cook wants to know about northern Colleton County, and I would say that you have a non-zero chance of seeing some ice on Friday night into Saturday morning. Do we think the models could shift west enough to where Atlanta gets decent accumulation? Probably not. Probably not with this configuration. That low pressure is going to ride the edge of that wedge along the coast. And again, with it, unless we can get that trough to dig a little bit more and maybe get a little bit more low pressure cyclogenesis in place, maybe further over the Gulf, and that erodes the wedge back, maybe we'll see. I live in Bamberg, not far from Orangeburg. What about my area? Yeah, you could see some. You very well in Bamberg. You may have a shot at maybe a very light glaze of ice on Thursday night. That is not out of the question. So that's something that we're going to want to watch. But otherwise, Friday night certainly a decent chance there. And I guess for Beaufort right now, you're not in the ice zone. You're really going to be on the edge of that wedge. You're going to be really on the edge there. I am not. The Weather Service is not favoring winter weather for you right now, for what it's worth, and I think that is worth a lot. In my view, I think that's worth quite a bit, actually. So keep an eye on it, but right now it looks like that this is going to stay north of Beaufort.
Fingers crossed, I guess. I'm going to take this one from Gerald. You take this one. Yeah, I had that one to take. Y'all should go live.
And we plan to.
Passes, and we do. We will. So our weekly show is our mothership. It carries our main name, Carolina Weather Group. It's our weekly interview. It's like a podcast. You can watch it or you can listen to it wherever you get podcasts. That's Wednesday night at 9. We're preempting what we are planning to do tomorrow to talk about snow. And then we do these Let's Talks, which are very casual. We take endless amounts of questions as weather warrants. So I'm pretty sure the weather is going to warrant that for the next couple. I also wanted to give a shout out to everyone who works in healthcare who don't get snow days. And so we appreciate them, especially in these times. So thank you guys very much for all that you guys are doing.
Yep, absolutely. And we know that, we will come up here and oftentimes, say no travel, but we know that is not always possible. And so we want to also help you our frontline folks fighting a different kind of war. Still, we want to help you get to where you need to be safely. And so please join in, come back with us, hit that like, hit that subscribe. As James mentioned, we're going to do this, do this through the event. Up there, we take a lot of questions. We're happy to answer them, and we have a Facebook page and social as well. So Facebook, Twitter, hit us up there, and we'll do our best to get to your questions as we can. So
yeah, we're actually recording a new podcast tomorrow that will air in a future date. But if you guys remember Brian Norcross, television meteorologist, hurricane specialist, he worked in Miami, he worked at the Weather Channel. That's who we're recording with tomorrow. So if you are, you'll see that in a couple weeks.
Legend.
Yeah.
Legendary.
Speaking of legendary people, here's Brad Panovich's rules for winter weather forecasting, which is why I feel in my gut that we'll be able to give better details tomorrow, because Brad has a rule. Forecast details like amounts, locations, and timing can't really be nailed down with any sort of certainty until 1 to 3 days out, which is really tomorrow. We are on the tail end of that 3 to 5 days out where we're looking at timing and trends. Like, is it snow? Is it sleet? Or is it ice? Which is what Jared mentioned earlier. The models are coming together and they're at least agreeing on precipitation types. Although I would almost argue, Jared, we're lagging behind. We're belated on the 5 to 7 day goal of the trends up or down, because we're still kind of in this crunch time where like no two models are showing the same thing. So the trends are
Yeah,
Yeah.
I would say as far as the existence of an event, I think we have pretty well got that under control. It is now the timing, type, extent, the details that I
Yeah.
think we're really going to start to struggle with here over the
Although
next day
that
or so.
7 to 10 days, that was a check. That was a win. Last weekend,
Yep.
you may not remember it because we were all in like now mode for last weekend's event. There was a side comment of, and we might be doing this again next weekend.
Mm-hmm. Well,
Question
here we
from
are.
yeah, here's a question I'd like to answer for all our new time folks who come to check us out during these winter weather events. Do we do weather just for the Carolinas or do you do surrounding states as well? Oh, this is a question that is near and dear to my heart because I wish I could do all the states endlessly. So we focus on North Carolina and South Carolina. That is like our home turf. But we will push our way into Tennessee, Virginia, Georgia, maybe a little bit of Florida, especially if you live kind of, we know there's a lot of people who live in one state and work in another, or are visiting family who might be traveling for the weekend. So the answer to that question is yes, we do pay attention to Georgia. Also, a lot of weather obviously comes from the west. What you won't see from us, just to like set clear expectations, is might pop on for a Charlotte, North Carolina tornado warning. We're probably not going to pop on for an Atlanta, Georgia tornado warning. That is something that we want to leave to those experts.
Yep.
So you're obviously welcome to come hang out with us, depending on where you are in Georgia. I mean, anywhere in Georgia. I mean, you can hang out with us if you're in California. And I will say our weekly show, we try to make sure that is applicable to anyone who loves weather science or technology. Like Brian Norcross is going to come on tomorrow, but I guarantee we're not just going to be talking to him about hurricanes that hit the Carolinas. We're going to be talking about hurricanes that hit Georgia or Florida, so on and so forth.
Love this comment.
That is so. You know who Eric Thomas, who just retired at WBTV here in Charlotte, said it really well. That North Carolina and South Carolina is such a diverse area to forecast for because you got the mountains, you got the beach, you got all four seasons.
Yeah,
it's complex.
Yeah, this is why we like it. I mean, I'll tell you, I'm a coastal guy. I'm more of a severe weather guy than anything. But my secret love is for the puzzle of winter weather forecasting. I'm sure it has aged me quite a bit, and I'm sure that it has done things to both of our hairlines over the years, but I promise you we love it. So this is
a race to see who can make the hair joke first.
Yeah, this is a great this is a great observation by Sandy, for sure. All right, so let's
there it is.
Yeah.
This is the right. This is what we're watching for. I'm playing it fast. I'm not pausing it because that's not gospel. But as we wrap up here on this Tuesday night edition of Let's Talk Carolina Weather, whether you're watching live or watching it on replay or listening to it on the audio podcast, we'll be back. The pattern is here.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, Joyce is a first-time watcher out of Williamsburg, Virginia. It looks like you may be close to getting maybe a little bit of ice. I don't know. Is Williamsburg in the Hampton Roads market?
I will have to check.
If it is, check out our buddy Ricky Matthews. He just started on. I don't remember his station. Dang it!
I think he's at Wavy, but no, Williamsburg, North Carolina looks more like Greensboro. So that's like check out Christian Morgan on WFMY territory.
Williamsburg, Virginia?
Oh, Williamsburg, Virginia?
Yeah.
Sorry, I for some reason only heard. Yeah, so Williamsburg, Virginia. Yeah, that's go check out Ricky Matthews on Wavy.
Yeah, he's a native of the area. He helped co-found this podcast with Scotty Powell way back in the day. I can't believe how long it's been at this point. Ricky's a really good friend of ours and a really good friend of the show. Definitely recommend you check him out up in coastal Virginia for sure. So awesome. All right. Well, do we want to get one more Newton Grove real quick? And didn't get much of anything with this last storm or the probabilities of us getting more this time.
I like that Dottie is asking for probabilities because I feel like that's the crux of a forecast like this. It's the chance and the impact.
Yes.
It's not a yes or a no. It's not a light switch.
Yes.
I hope you're prepared to answer this question, though.
Newton Grove. Let me make sure I've got that on. Let me make sure that I'm getting the right one and all that good stuff. And
Sampson County.
Okay, that's in North Carolina.
That's going to be another one of those It's probably far enough east that you're getting that precipitation, right? Because we
Yeah.
saw where the Weather Service wanted to put that ice line. It's going to be a question of type.
Yeah, I would say that you have a decent shot at ice. I think, and probably more than last time, at least from the early going here.
Yeah.
I think you have a decent shot. Just eyeballing that. So we will, we'll see how that goes. Oh,
we could do this all night long.
All night long.
By the way, there was a question of whether or not people can like contribute to what we do here, and I got to tell you, on Sunday morning when we started our snow coverage Sunday morning at 6 a.m., having reports from people across the Carolinas was priceless. Because we can look at radar, but it's people telling us, yes, it's snowing, yes, it's sleeting, yes, it's freezing rain, yes, it's regular rain. All of you guys right now asking questions about how much snow in blank becomes this is what's happening in blank, and that's amazing.
Yeah. That ground truth is essential. It's essential for all the meteorologists, National Weather Service broadcast, all of us. It is for all of us.
Cosmo says, send some snow up to New York City. Don't worry, Cosmo. You know it's coming.
Yeah.
I'm from Long Island. There's not a question of whether or not it's going to snow in the tri-state this season.
Exactly.
It's when and how much.
Yep. All right. We're going to do two more real quick. Green Sea, South Carolina.
I just love the name.
Yeah, that's a great name.
Yeah, and Brandon, absolutely correct. It's the ground truth. It's that precipitation type ground truth, which I'm going to go out on a limb and say that's a ham radio handle, and Brandon knows all about providing that ground truth. So thank you.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, Green Sea. Yeah, Green Sea. I think you are definitely potentially. You certainly should be watching for ice in Green Sea. I think that is super important. Rock Hill, as you can see from this model run here, you might be getting a little bit of everything. A little bit of snow, a little bit of ice. Probably not the ice storm that you saw this past weekend, but certainly a mix of both. And Greensboro, looks decent for snow in Greensboro. Not as much as we saw before, but still a decent covering there. And
so, leave extra time when traveling. Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Stay weather aware. Charge up your phones in case you get. The threat seems to be scattered power outages right now, as opposed to widespread. But it doesn't hurt to have things charged up. If you're traveling this weekend, pay extra attention to the forecast. And what am I forgetting? It never hurts to have an extra couple cans of SpaghettiOs on hand, just in case.
SpaghettiOs, crackers, milk sandwiches do not apply. This is not a bread and milk emergency by any stretch of the imagination.
Not by any means. I love what Steve says here. Ice Camp, North Carolina, 3 to 4 inches of sleet. Should we rename it Sleet Camp? But you know what I like about this, and I've been meaning to do this. I want to make a YouTube video that is just like all of the cool weather inspired town names in the Carolinas.
You know what I love about this is I think Steve is making fun of us because the town is Snow Camp.
Oh.
And I called it Ice Camp because they were getting a lot of ice. And as it turned out, it was Sleet Camp. I think that's what's going on here, which is absolutely hilarious.
I love that loyalty full circle thing we've got going. So awesome.
Absolutely wonderful. So again, folks, if you're watching this from, the upstate Anderson area, things like that, border of snow and ice, things like that. And again,
that is so true. And that's why, we love that people are putting things in comments here, but on Sunday morning, the thing I kept saying is like, send MPing reports. Cause like we can look at MPing reports and we can all hang out here and gossip about the MPing reports. But what's great about like MPing is then they copy over to the Weather Service. So they're getting them so they can do their thing officially. And it's a win-win. So great point.
And we, and the other thing too, is that we'll forward your reports to the Weather Service as well. So, if you don't use something like MPing, but you tell us, we'll forward them along. So rest assured that your report is being used for some important things.
I keep saying last comment, and I think,
this is it.
Will this be a major winter storm? Many weather apps are saying so. Here's the thing about weather apps. Most weather apps are just computers, and they this gets so complicated. But like when you look at a model run, it's made up of different ingredients. It's like a cake. And so like you got your sugar, you got your chocolate, you got your cherry, and some apps like will focus on the cherry, and some apps will focus on the chocolate, and some will focus on the whipped cream. Please find an app that, and we don't have one, so I'm not endorsing us. Just if find an app that is powered by humans, whether that's like your local TV app or go to weather.gov, because those are human forecasters that can look at what the computer's putting out and go, no.
Our buddy Eric Procius from Memphis used to be a panelist on the show. He has an app called Stormwatch Plus that is pretty good. I use that. It uses National Weather Service forecasts. Your automated apps are not bad when it's decent. When it's decent
Sunny,
out, or
72. Okay.
Yeah, that's all right.
The threat on being off. Oh, sorry, it was actually 73. Like whatever.
Right. And you can nail that. But situations like these, the human element is unmatched.
Jared, does the Weather Channel app get any sort of human intervention? I don't know if we know the answer to that question.
I don't know. And I have my doubts, truth be told. I'll tell you what, using the iPhone stock app, I'll just tell you that from on Monday, we were going to have snow. On Tuesday, we were going to have ice pellets. And then I checked it again this evening, and now we're all rain here in Charleston. It can't resolve those minor differences very far in advance. It doesn't do it. It's too deterministic. So again, that's where the human element comes into play. That's where, your news folks like us, Weather Service, that's where all that comes into play. Because again, as we were showing you earlier, and if you catch a replay on Carolina WeatherNet here in a little bit, I think that's what we're going to be doing. James, correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, this is going to replay on the WeatherNet, and I'll say this too. There's a reason why you don't see Carolina Weather Group put out our own snowfall accumulation map. Some of our panelists on their local areas might take a stab at it, but for continuity, we put out what the Weather Service puts out, because they're the forecasters who are trained and accredited in the pockets across the Carolinas. And that's why, like, when you watch on the Carolina WeatherNet and we go to show your local forecast, that's National Weather Service material, because that is a completely staffed, around the clock. I mean, like, there's no sense in reinventing the wheel when the professionals are already doing it.
A better value for your tax dollars and 4 free COVID tests.
Hi, Tim.
Tim, you're going to get me in trouble. I'm the programmer around here. You're going to get me in trouble. But yeah, I think for y'all, I think it's very important that we, that we take these into account. And if you watch the replay on the net, you will see a lot of the major differences. I tried to illustrate the major differences still between several of the models that we're still dealing with, which is why your automatic apps are windshield wiping, which is what we call it. It's going back and forth between different solutions. That's why your automated apps are doing that. Weather Service forecasts, they're gonna pick a lane, and they're gonna just progressively make adjustments, and they're not gonna make huge adjustments without solid, clear-cut evidence. So again, human element, can't beat it, folks.
All right. We could literally do this all night, and we would love every minute of it. And then we would be exhausted for tomorrow, and we'd be no fun tomorrow. So I'm going to do the managerial thing, and I'm going to wrap this bad boy up. We will see you back here tomorrow night for more talk about this next round of winter weather. So many of you, I think, checking us out for the first time tonight. Welcome, welcome, welcome. And of course, we love having our loyalists back too. So you can find us here on YouTube. If you're watching on Facebook, you can find us on YouTube. And if you're out and about, you can find us wherever you listen to audio podcasts. You can kind of scroll back through and check out that interview from last week about nano satellites. It was cool stuff. Yeah. Jared, I'm not even going to ask you for final thoughts. I think I'm just going to wave goodnight to you.
Yep, let's wave goodnight. Yep, Charlie Brown's tired.
Tell Charlie Brown to say bye, Charlie Brown.
Good night.
Bye.
We'll see you all next time, folks. Thanks for watching.